Ladies and gentlemen, Roster Watch Nation, welcome back to the epic Roster Watch podcast brought to you by RosterWatch.com, episode 219, here with Alex Dunlap and the Trashman. Of course, you can find all of our content at RosterWatch.com. You can support everything membership, and also just by giving the podcast a rating and review wherever it is you're listening, Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher. We love seeing those come in, and we can't thank you guys enough. Okay, so a bunch of stuff to get to today. Trashman and I did our evaluation work on Tee Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson. We'll talk about that heading into the combine next week, and also with the fact that we're heading into the combine next week, we are going to go over the AFC team, talk about one fantasy question we have for each team in the AFC that we'll be able to ask the general managers and or head coaches there in attendance. Schedule is going to be like this. You probably haven't seen it. It's brutal. No. It's like we used to get we used to get of coaches and GMs, right? To where it was just like one at a podium and you didn't have to miss anybody or anything like that. This year they're cramming it all into one day. So we have to we get them all in one day, but get this. It's also the day that we get quarterbacks, running backs. And so it's like I'm going to be having to go, we get all of our photos at Roster Watch from events like the Combine, the training camp tour, all this bullshit. So I'm going to have to go and get photos of all those guys, go running from goddamn, podium to podium, asking these coaches and these GMs questions, just coming in there completely like some rando, just drive-by question asker, just popping up in the middle of the local media session and just how many times?
Let me know if y'all need an extra. Let me know if y'all need an extra set of hands up there.
Yeah, we might, dude. It's gonna be. Had we have known this, we would have definitely needed to bring 3 of us. But next year we'll know. We'll know now that this is how they're doing it. But it's just huge shock to see that was. But needless to say, we'll have a bunch of content next week from the Combine and breakdowns following the Combine of the different things we learned fantasy-wise from these coaches, and also just what we learned athletically about these prospects. That's why it's just such a big week of content for us, and really looking forward to being back for our 9th straight year covering the Combine in Indy. All right, a couple bits you wanted to talk about before we got into the meat of this thing. What do you got?
Well, first of all, Jordan Reed finally getting.
No one gives a shit. No one cares.
No one cares. There was a time when Jordan Reed was
not concussed.
He was the de facto tight end. Going into the season was tight end 1 or 2 before usually getting injured within the first couple weeks of the season.
How can his family or anybody in good conscience let him continue playing football? He's going to have to be having to pay out checks later on if he doesn't take better care of his body.
The NFLPA needs to take care of that.
What the NFLPA needs to do? They need to roll the fuck over and accept the terms that the owners provided. I know that that's not a popular take, but for me, that helps to run a fantasy football business. I can't imagine how badly we'll get fucked by a lockout in 2021. It would hurt bad. I just want the players to take the damn deal. Just take it. Why are you being so greedy? What do you think, Trash?
Why? Oh.
If they can do it before the new, if they can get this done, if they can get it done before the new league year, March 18th, it's good for you, Trash Man. You're a co-owner here.
I'm a player's coach. I'm always going to side on the players.
Oh, God damn it, man! Come on, dude. You need a checkbook with your. Man, this gets done before the start. If it gets done before the start of the new league year,
that's how negligible.
If it gets done before the start of the new league year,
that's how negligible for me, anyways.
Why March 18th? You should have it marked on your calendar. Don't you want to make more money? We all want to make more money. We all want more money.
I do, but I don't know if that's even contingent on that. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this: there's no. I'll tell you this: if there's a lockout, it's gonna fuck us all. And here's
there's always the XFL.
Fuck the XFL. Come on now. These guys aren't going to want to go without paychecks. I don't want to go without paychecks. Just get the fucking deal done. I like the deal. 17 regular season weeks, one less bullshit preseason week. Get the dress rehearsal in week 2 and have the bullshit week in week 3, and then 17-game regular season. What do you think about the fact that only one team from each?
I'm all about. What's that?
What about one team from each conference getting only one from each conference getting a first round bye?
I like that
in the playoff, and 7 teams.
I'm all for scrapping whatever we can do to scrap the preseason entirely.
There's
no more fake news than what goes on in the preseason.
We don't know. Well, that was why we started the training camp tour, Trashman, to divert this fake news and these alternative facts. These charlatans trying to pass themselves off as fucking beat writers. Get them out of here. That's why we go to the combine.
Oh, they're our friends.
March 18th, Trashman. If they can get this deal done by March, that means with the new television contracts that are coming up, I think those are in 2021 also. Could be 2022. But regardless, they needed to. I would like the NFL to be able to go in there, and so these TV execs can't string them from the, put them over the barrel and say, well, we're not sure if we want to give you all this money because there's still a lockout impending.
There's no way there's going to. I mean,
from your lips to God's ears.
The NFL is arguably America's greatest export at this point.
It sure is a good one. All right. Well, so any other news, notes? I mean, I don't know. You want to talk about Greg Olsen? I don't give a shit.
Greg Olsen. I mean, with all the garbage tight ends that pop off in Seattle, that's not of news to you.
I don't know. I think it's. I mean, they still have Will Dissly. I think they still have Jacob Hollister. What is Jacob Hollister's contract? I mean, he was signed off the practice squad. I can't imagine he signed to any kind of long.
You think both of those? You think those guys are going to start over Olsen?
No, but I think that it's always going to be something where it's where I think it'll probably be something where you can. Let's see. So he only had a 1-year deal this year. I don't know if they bring him back or not. I think it's going to be a deal where people get a lot of these guys will get swindled, man.
I don't know. I like Olsen there. I think this Seattle defense was really starting to click, at least through the air in the latter half of the season. I feel like he's going to be, people are going to sleep on him.
The Seattle defense was starting to click, or the offense?
No, the offense through the air. I thought we were starting to get consistent production through the air, and so I like Olsen. I mean,
I can't believe he was. I can't believe he was so coveted. Bills wanted him. Somebody else.
He's a blue collar, hardworking guy.
Yeah.
Brings his lunchbox to work.
No other lunch pail guy.
Well, there's Jarvis Landry missing 6 to 8 months.
Who gives a shit? Does it matter? 6 months from now, it's going to be.
You don't care about that either?
He'll be fine to start the season, don't you think? It'll be one of these things we'll have to monitor.
Do you think
his ADP right now probably needs to his ADP needs to probably come down from where is Jarvis Landry going right now in best ball? So Jarvis is going. I mean, he's already going pretty late. Jesus Christ, where's Jarvis?
I think it makes a difference on whether the Browns add a slot receiver in the draft.
All right, let me ask you this: just a quick name game. Who do you rather have in just for a best ball league? Terry McLaurin or Jarvis Landry?
Is it a PPR format?
Yes.
Still go with my boy Terry.
What about with maybe Phillip Rivers slinging it in Indy?
I like Hilton there too.
Michael Gallup, your boy.
I mean, to me, right? Well,
Trashman, you need to fire out quicker with your takes.
I'd say Landry.
Rapid fire, Trashman. John Brown. No pensive.
I'd say Landry.
AJ Green. Possibly back with Cincy. Zach
Green.
Taylor told me okay. Christian, and would you prefer any of these guys over Jarvis Landry? Christian Kirk, Marquise Brown, or Mike Williams? Or in best ball?
Yes.
Any of them?
Yes.
Or all of them?
Yes, all of them.
All of them. Okay. We'll take that into consideration here. It sounds like you are much lower on John Brown than you should be if he's the only guy that you would take below Jarvis there in that spot. I
think they're gonna add some weapons.
They are. Do you want to have, I mean, just do off the top of our head? Let's start with let's go east, south, north, west. Okay. AFC East. Let's start with the Patriots.
Right.
You do a question for them?
The Patriots.
You know what I'll ask?
Well, I want to know what they're going to do.
If we get Belichick, which I don't think we will, because this is going to be a million questions about Brady.
I want to know what they're going to do at tight end.
What do you mean? If they have...
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's probably their outside of the question about Brady. I think offensively, that's their biggest question on offense.
Well, you have to think of a way to phrase it. You can't say it like that. Belichick will look at you like you just.
Are you still looking? Are you still looking?
If you say, yeah.
Are you looking to replace Rob Gronkowski with one tight end, or is it going to be
look at you
committee?
Like you have an? He would look at you like literally like your face was a big ass, and
I feel like he would look at. I feel like he would look
coming out of the ass.
Look at anyone. I feel like he would look at anyone like that.
You might as well walk in there seriously with an ass for a face, with a lit Marlboro Red coming out of like a puckering butthole, and have that person with that face ask the question.
There was actually a cartoon where that was actually the main character on Cartoon Network on Adult Swim, like a decade
Maybe
ago.
That's where I got that.
Assy McGee. He was a police detective that smoked cigarettes and carried a revolver.
I'm gonna need Assy McGee to be part of the title of this particular podcast. I'm gonna need to write that down. Okay. My question is just about.
Well, how would you phrase that question?
I'm gonna ask about. Do you know what I would say? I would say something like, just how hard is it to replace a guy like Rob Gronkowski?
Okay.
I think that might get it an insightful answer. I think I would say I just want to know, what's the plan for Damian Harris, and what did you see out of him in year one? Because I think that has effects on Sony Michel. It smells like that. Like you didn't draft him where you drafted him for him to continue being a healthy scratch week after week after week. I wonder if there's an ascension plan in mind for that. Of course, N'Keal Harry would be a great thing to ask about too. But we're not going to get to talk. I guarantee you Belichick will be the one coach that does not show up as always. All right. New York Jets. I think that the main thing that you could probably poke around is just, it's a way of just how you question it. But I'd like to know what's up with Le'Veon Bell and how much internally they really see him as part of the future.
Ask them if they think Le'Veon Bell is fat.
I'm not sure. God, Adam Gase, that guy with his googly eyes, man. He signed Bell. He signed.
Do you think Bell? They thought he gained like 20 pounds last season. Did you see that?
I saw him play like shit. He wasn't good. He wasn't. He needs to, they can get out of it in 2021 for just $4 million, but for 2020, if they don't trade him, they're going to have to use him and play him. I don't know. Do you have any?
He's still their best player on offense.
Of course, there's always the question that everybody's going to want to ask about Herndon, right? Where is he?
Yeah.
Are we still waiting on a breakout there? And then Robbie Anderson.
Is it Herndon's third or fourth year?
It'll be his third.
See, Robbie Anderson, third year breakout.
Anything to poke around about, because Robbie Anderson's a free agent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the best wide receiver free agent.
Is there anybody? Well, isn't Amari Cooper set to be a free agent?
Yeah, that's true. Him or Amari Cooper. I think those are the top two.
You can't put those guys even in the same sentence. I don't think. I'm not sure.
I think in the right offense, Robbie Anderson would be a monster.
I disagree. I think that he's always just going to. I don't think he's a proper number one.
We saw games where they implemented him as more than a deep option, where he's getting 11 targets some of those games, and he was going off. He was teeing off in fantasy.
Miami Dolphins, what do you think about this? I'm going to ask, what the hell you do with the running back position? What do you do? Have they seen anything out of Myles Gaskin? Obviously, I think you could just tell him, you could just say, look, we all saw Kalen Ballage last year. Is there anything you can do with the position? Is
that the biggest question, or is it I would ask them, are they planning on cultivating a quarterback there or picking up one?
I think Brian Flores would look at you like that same ass fate. That's same ass.
Well, he is a Belichick acolyte.
Yeah, he's not going to fucking tell you. They're probably going to take Tua. They're probably going to take somebody, but Fitzpatrick's going to be back. Well,
you've been to these combine events. I'm not familiar with how they feel those kind of questions.
If you ask them a question that they kind of don't like, or it's kind of give away a bunch of trade seats.
What's weird about that?
Implementing a new quarterback. Well, again, and just listen how open-ended it sounds.
Not implementing. I'm talking about, do they plan on drafting a quarterback, or do they plan on getting a veteran?
You're asking me what I'm going to do with my. So you're asking me what I'm going to do with my top 5 pick in the draft, and I'm going to tell you.
Does it need to be some sort of subtle,
yes,
some subtle kind of underhand?
Yes, it does. It needs to be subtle. Yes. I'm asking about the running backs. I might also ask, Preston Williams, Devontae Parker. What'd you see out of those guys? Preston Williams sure was good before.
What do you mean? What do you say? That's an obvious question. Both of those guys had amazing seasons.
What was your final evaluation?
Would a better question be, how do you plan on getting the ball to breakout wide receivers Preston Williams and Devontae Parker?
You do guys' hand as much as possible. You can ask a question like that. It's great. How can you keep Kalen Ballage off the field no matter what? 0 snaps. How as a coach can you personally implement systems to make sure that happens?
Do you wish you had Kenyon Drake back on the
ballroom? Oh, see that could get room. Okay. We Jets. Bills. Devin Singletary. That's my question. That's the question. is Devin Singletary ready to step up and take over as a true featured back in the NFL based on what we saw last year? That's a great question. That'll make them happy. That's a guy that they coveted, they liked, they went out and got him. They didn't use him the way that they should until the very end of the season, and we saw how he can look whenever he is used like that. We love Devin Singletary.
What kind of receiver could complement Cole Beasley and John Brown the best, in their opinion?
What type of body do you look for when you look at, or you know what you could ask to say, you know, when just for drafting philosophy standpoint, when you look, you have some different kinds of players like John Brown and Cole Beasley that fit into certain, fit into certain prototypes, right? From a pure draft perspective and from a draft, how much do you take into account like what you currently have and finding the type of receiver that would complement them?
I feel like Tee Higgins would be the perfect fit.
We're going to talk about him. I think they're there too. Perfect fit for a lot of reasons. It's funny that you mentioned that because he was the guy that I was kind of thinking of whenever I was going through that whole example in my head. We'll talk about him in a second. Our boy Michael Yeager in the chat saying, "What the hell is that Colts looking? What's that Colts looking symbol on the shirt?" No, this shirt's from the Horseshoe Lounge here in Austin, Texas. Next one. So Bills. So we got it. So let's move on. AFC South. Bill O'Brien comes up on stage like the dickhead he always is. You got any questions for him? My question for him, what's going on with do you just know off the top of your head what Lamar Miller is like? The one that they're going to want to get out of, or if he's not set to be a free, I think probably pull it up here on Spot Track so we can see, because that's the kind of stuff we'll have to do anyway. So right, so yeah, he's set for free agency. He will not be coming back. What the hell are you going to do? I mean, is Carlos Hyde somebody that you can really, I don't know, really plan to. And
they got pretty far with him last season.
With him or in spite of him? I'm serious.
He had some serviceable games.
So that was a.
I'm more interested in how do they feel about Will Fuller's long-term prospects?
I thought it could be a good question to ask Bill O'Brien. Just say is there, when you look at Will Fuller and his availability, is there just something to be said for the fact that some players could just be a little bit more injury prone than others? Is that too?
Yeah. He and Alshon Jeffrey should start a club.
Bill O'Brien, and he was the one that got so that he tried to call me out for one of my questions that year about DeAndre Hopkins, and I just totally fucking facialed him. And he just said like, what do you mean his production was not from last year? And I said, well, he had like something yards, like blah blah blah, and he's like, well, any receptions? I was like, I don't like 86. It was definitely like 25 less than last season or whatever. He's just like, oh yeah, well, I guess he did have less receptions. But yeah,
I think he was. Right. I think he was trying to get some information out of you. Yeah, I don't think he knew.
Yeah, I can't, dude. So Bill O'Brien has just won every power struggle there. I think now he's the general manager somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Okay. Indianapolis Colts. I mean, everybody's going to, there in Indy's going to be asking what's going on with the quarterback position. Do you know what? I think I'll just ask Frey. Whenever you think about your time with Phillip Rivers, what do you remember most about it? That'll get him talking about Rivers. I guarantee that headline will get picked up.
What do you think? I don't think he'll be fooled by the line of questioning.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that, but he could take it as an opportunity to talk about Phillip Rivers, whereas he could not talk about Phillip Rivers if somebody's asked the question like, "Are you guys interested in Phillip Rivers?" If that makes sense.
Possibly. I would ask him if he thinks they need more reliable options in the passing game.
Oh, yeah. And do you know what we need to ask about? Expectations in year 2 for Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
Right?
God, man. He was arguably my favorite receiver going into the draft last year.
Tennessee Titans. I mean, I think one of the things you need to ask is just like, is Derrick Henry worth? Did he was what last year? What you saw last year is that enough for you to consider tying the long-term viability of this team via the salary cap that's available to it, and much the way the Cowboys have with Ezekiel Elliott? Is that the move to make with Derrick Henry here? Because his demands are significant.
Can they afford to retain both Derrick Henry and
Ryan Tannehill? That's the question. Yeah, I like that. Can you afford to pay up big for a running back and a quarterback in the same free agency cycle to long-term deals? The Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the first question for Dave Caldwell is, sir, how the fuck do you still have a job? Who do you have photos of? Why does Shahid Khan care about these photos?
That's the kind of subtlety I like to use.
Michael Lombardi always points it out that the fucking LA Rams have more of the Jacksonville Jaguars first round picks on their roster than the Jacksonville Jaguars do.
Bad. Hey, they like it. They like it in sunny LA.
Yeah,
more than Jacksonville.
I guess so.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine why.
They say that there's
I would.
What is the deal in downtown Jacksonville? Do they have a mayonnaise factory there? There's a part of downtown that smells bad. Some kind of factory. You ever been up to Sherman?
There are factories. There are factories for mayonnaise. Entire factories.
Sherman, Texas, I believe, has one for Hellman's mayonnaise. And dude. There's a school up there I think called Austin College, and they have a 3 football team that me and some of my teammates to go up there. And one of my teammates said, "Dude, don't even take the trip, dude. Just buy a mayonnaise factory at the field, and it smells like shit, dude." Like he couldn't imagine having to practice there, do gassers and stuff.
That makes you vomit in the back of my mouth.
Our boy Michael.
I would ask him if they think.
Sandon Khan doesn't care about football anymore. I don't know. Leonard Fournette, dude. How about saying something? How about asking something like, "Can you believe we're already at the point in time where you guys have an upcoming decision regarding Leonard Fournette's 5th-year option?"
Again, he's the best player on their offense. I don't think they can afford to not.
Is there an alpha Foles and Gardner Minshew? Do you consider one of those guys
an alpha?
I don't know. Maybe we could ask Dave Caldwell.
I don't know if we're talking about just in the locker room. A lot of guys would probably say Foles is the alpha over a lot of other guys.
I would imagine so. BDN. All right, let's move on to the AFC.
Well, hold on. I would ask him how big a priority tight end, having consistent production at tight end, is for them.
I think that they would tell you, "Oh, it's a big part of our offense. Blah blah blah. Like we love a tight end. We have so and so." And all right, AFC
Shaughnessy,
Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, we have to ask or figure out how the team views James Conner, and I think that whenever we get oh Jesus! What the hell is his name? Ed? What's the Steelers GM that's at every two? I've addressed him probably 9 times.
Colbert.
Yeah, Kevin Colbert. Yeah, Kevin Colbert. He's generally pretty honest about those things. So I'm going to ask Colbert about James Conner somehow. And Also,
I feel
I'd like to know. I'd like to know what the team thinks about the prospects of a Juju's rebound this year. Might affect any sort of rebound this year.
If he's got a quarterback that can throw him the ball, he'll have a rebound.
Okay, maybe that's how Ben's looking. I think the Steelers have a lot of good questions to ask. You know, does the fact that he's on? I don't think his
production. I don't think his production was reliant on really anything else other than the fact that there was not a decent quarterback to throw him the ball.
Okay, Baltimore Ravens. Can we get Marquise Brown more targets? Is that going to be a focal point next year? Is maybe getting Hollywood targeted more often?
I'm sure they'll say it is.
I don't really have that many complaints.
But I doubt we'll see them.
Is there any real questions about how things are going to play out with them? I think it's going to be more the same from them.
I would ask them if they feel like Alexander running as much as he does poses a significant threat for his long-term future there.
Alexander
Jackson.
Who? Oh, who's Lamar Alexander? Wasn't Lamar Alexander like he's a senator, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's like I don't know. I think he's like a Democratic senator that they were wondering might vote against the impeachment or something. The news with that. Okay, and then
Lamar Jackson.
No, I'm not gonna. They're gonna let Lamar be. They're gonna let Lamar be Lamar. You've seen what happens whenever that's allowed to take place. Okay, who else is in this? Oh, the Cincinnati Bengals are in this division. Are they finally time to let Joe Mixon feast? I've already asked Zach Taylor about AJ Green. Well, I mean, let him feast from the start of the season and not wait till it's completely over and just, as you're trying to lose every game, just hand the ball to him 30 times. Like, are they ready to win? That should be better, right? They should finally be better this year.
Have they fitted Joe Burrow for his helmet?
Joe Burrow's acting like he's not he isn't 100% committing to the idea that if they draft him, he'll actually go. He's being a little.
Where does he want to go? He's got good offensive
maybe
weapons.
Maybe not Cincinnati.
There.
I mean, Carson Palmer came out and had the criticisms of Cincinnati, saying that's not a team with any dedication to winning. He just completely threw him under the bus. I think Burrow heard that.
Hey, he could be the quarterback there for his entire career. Easy. He's got no pressure there. It's a no pressure situation.
That's a loser trash man way to look at things, trash man. He wants to win. He doesn't want to skate by. Live off the teat of some losing organization where he's the face of it. Come on. Yeah, I can't really think.
And if he won there, though, he'd be the savior of that city.
I think during Zach Taylor's availability, I might be off fucking taking pictures of running backs and wide receivers. AFC North, who am I leaving out? We've gone over Steelers, Ravens,
the Browns,
Bengals, Browns. Kareem Hunt. How big a deal is it to bring him back? And what are you going to do with that restricted free agency tender? Then I'll get looked at like I haven't asked for a face.
Or do they plan on drafting a slot receiver in lieu of Landry's injury? Or how serious do they see?
I don't think that. I think they'll say, look, I'm not a medical professional. We have the best care in the world. We've been told 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 months. That should have us kind of, ready, hopefully be ready for the start of the season, because that'll be, 7 months. That splits the difference between 6 and 8. That's exactly what they'll say. I think Kareem Hunt's the big question that I have for the Browns. I want to know about Kareem Hunt. Because it means it's so much for Nick Chubb. It also, Kareem Hunt, if he lands in the right spot, Kareem Hunt, all of a sudden we are going to, this could be a situation where Kareem Hunt goes from like a 5th round ADP, 6th round ADP where he's going right now to where he could be right. I mean, if he goes to Tampa Bay or something with Arians and they don't draft anybody else, talking about a guy. How early would you take Kareem Hunt in? I'd take him at the beginning of the second round at the 1-2 turn.
I'd take him at the turn.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a big deal for fantasy for sure. We got Keith D16 in the chat, Periscope chat, saying he thinks Hunt stays put. I think that Keith D16 might be a Browns fan. But then again, who knows? Like like another team could say, Kareem Hunt, he's kind of a shithead. We don't really want to bring him on trouble. Here. Yeah, but see, the Browns have already kind of taken him on. They've already taken the PR hit. So keeping him around is not as bad, right? It's like bringing him in anew.
You can always go to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Cowboys need him. They already need to get Pollard more work.
They don't need him, but they could certainly take the PR hit.
Okay, AFC West. Raiders.
They need a possession receiver.
Can Josh Jacobs? Well, don't you feel like that they already have one in Hunter Renfrow?
Do they? I would ask him. Do you think you have a possession receiver in Hunter Renfrow?
I think both Mayock and Gruden would say. Well, did you watch last season? Yeah, I think we do.
I watched stints last season,
and they'd say
I wouldn't say there was consistent production.
They said go back and watch your fucking stints again, trash man. Like we watched every single play. This is our team. Like, what are you doing? Like.
No, I'm saying I only saw stints of consistent production from Renfrow.
Oh, he's little and he was hurt. He's got tiny little hands. It's like
there were definitely games where he disappeared.
Josh Jacobs, we need to know if they trust him in the receiving game. Like, can he be a true 3-down workhorse? Do you envision him that way? Or with the fact that you guys just signed Jalen Richard to a new 3-year deal, does that mean that maybe you view Josh Jacobs' skill set as not one where it's not, I wouldn't say not well-rounded enough, but one where you see those two players as complementary of one another for what you're trying to do in totality for the run game? Or is it something that Jacobs could conceivably handle on his own, or at least grow in that receiving game for next year? That would be my question. What about you? I mean, also like, what kind of receivers do you think
I would ask them if they feel like they have needs at wide receiver at this point.
Oh, well, Jesus, of course they do. Look at their roster. Jesus Christ. I mean, they have huge needs. What is Tyrell Williams free? Hold on, let me see. So Tyrell Williams on Spot Track. So no, he's not free at all. But he's back for 2020. But dude, he is gone in 2021 unless he has a monster breakout. This deal was $22 million guaranteed. All the guaranteed money is paid up here in these first 2 years. So he'll be owed $11.6 next year with zero dead cap associated. So
if they think he's a number one wide receiver.
Is he a true number one? Yeah,
I don't think so.
Well, you can ask Gruden. You could say, like, Coach, you've coached like guys like, I think he coached Jerry Rice for a little while. Antonio Bryant.
In Tampa?
Yeah, no.
In Oakland?
In Oakland. Yeah, I think he had Tim Brown and Jerry Rice and all those guys for just a small while on that team. Like, you've been around Antonio Bryant and stuff like that. And you always hear John Gruden, what he does with his ex-wide receiver, what he does with his top wide receiver, his wide receiver one, has generally been really good, right?
Yeah.
You tell him all that, and then you say, "Is Tyrell Williams is he a true number one?" That's a good question. Denver Broncos. Finally, the year of more Royce Freeman.
Do they see Tim Patrick taking a step up this season?
Play the song. But Trashman, there's a million things we can ask you about. Royce Freeman, Cortland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, Noah Fant.
You don't think the potential number 2 receiver in Denver? asking about.
He's not the number 2.
You don't think going into if the season started today, he wouldn't be their number 2 receiver?
No.
Who would be?
I'd rather have it be. Well, I mean, if he's healthy, wouldn't you say that Deshaun Hamilton could be?
I'm saying he could be, but I'm talking about reality and how I think it'll play out.
There's nothing realistic about an NFL season starting in February. We need to see who's healthy. We need to see who's back.
What do you mean? The XFL started in January.
Yeah, and that is definitely the reality is that
Cardell Jones is the best. Cardell Jones is the best quarterback in the XFL.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think so. I'm trying to, yeah. PJ Walker looked good to start, but I think Cardell's better than Landry Jones.
I think so too.
Okay. And well, here's the thing. I also think that Pep Hamilton's he's a better play caller and a better coach than fucking Hal Mummy is. Have you heard Hal Mummy's play calls? It's like star 25. And then like that's it. There's nothing else. It's just I guess it must be the easiest playbook to learn. Okay. Back to so Broncos. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Noah Fant, I think, is a big one. Like, how much more involved can you get that guy? He's so explosive. Was he a guy that can get worked in more? All right. Kansas City Chiefs.
I would ask them if they felt like they have any real needs there on the offense. If they feel like if they feel comfortable with the offense as the way it is moving forward.
I was thinking you could ask Andy Reid, just say, is what we saw out of Damian Williams to end the playoff stretch, is that a Damian Williams that we could see maybe coming into next year in the regular season? Is that what you're hoping for? I want to get an idea of whether they're going to draft a running back or whether they think like that. Because if Andy Reid was like, yeah, like you saw in the playoffs when he was healthy and we got everything rolling and the team was back healthy, that's exactly how we envisioned using Damian Williams. But during the season, he got banged up and then blah, blah, blah. LaShawn McCoy was all, blah, et cetera, et cetera. He's like, in a perfect world, we have Damian do that all year. That all of a sudden, I kind of take that. I kind of believe him.
I would say, I don't know why, knowing that you can score 51 points on a team in the playoffs without a running game, how important is it to find a primary ball carrier for you guys?
But they did have a good running game in the playoffs. They had a great running game in the playoffs.
I'm saying like in that comeback, it wasn't necessary. It was, they can do it. They can do it through the air. I just don't know that running back and having like a, 3-down back is a priority for them.
Okay. And then the wide receivers, we don't even need to ask about. It seems like Sammy Watkins he even knows he's going to need to take a pay cut.
He's gone.
Let's see. And then finally, who have we not talked about in the AFC West?
The Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers. Can Austin Eckler carry the load?
Oh.
The question that all of Twitter hates, the question that all of fantasy Twitter, that all of his owners just hate you to ask. They say, why do you even ask that? Of course you can carry the fucking load. Look at him. He's done it before. But the fact is he just hasn't. And these people are liars, and they just talk about him like that because they own him in fantasy and they want him to. Is
Austin Eckler a 3-down back?
Yeah. Can he carry the load there? Can he what about Hunter Henry? Anything like that?
I feel like Hunter Henry, until I see a full season from him, I'm not gonna question his efficacy there.
Pretend since you're using big words like efficacy and trying to be the smartest dude in the room, pretend like you're the guy.
I'm the only person in my room.
Yeah, I am too. Trashman, you shouldn't be taking away the third wall here, or the fourth wall, whatever, from everybody in the audience who thinks we're sitting across from one another. Pretend you're Tom Telesco, and I walk up to the podium with a shit-eating grin on my face and an iPhone recorder right up against your nose, and I say, Tom, how do you start out life without Phillip Rivers?
I don't have to hire as many babysitters.
Okay, perfect. That's the pod. All right. Wait. No, I'm gonna have to edit that out because that can't be the pod. We need to talk about. or do you just want to leave the Tee Higgins talk off? We don't need to talk Tee Higgins. We'll get that next week. Yeah. We'll talk Tee Higgins next week. We certainly appreciate everybody tuning in here on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, etc. If you could give it a thumbs up on YouTube, or just make sure you give us a rating and a review in iTunes. Make sure you subscribe. We would really, really appreciate it. Byron and I will be back next week from the Combine. Hopefully we'll get Trashman on as well to talk over some of that stuff. So, and for Michael Yeager, we will talk plenty of Higgins coming up very soon. You can find the write-up that we did over at RosterWatch.com. So until then, safe travels. We wish you guys the best. Godspeed. Good luck. We will see you next time.